yet, so we're going to watch that. Further west in Wisconsin, map grows larger, right? 38% in, the president's slight lead. I would caution you on this only because this is Milwaukee down here, is Green Bay up here. This is Milwaukee County. You've got a lot of votes that have not yet been tallied. Milwaukee tends to run later into the night, so we'll see how this measures up. This is Dane County, by the way. That's where Madison is. That's where the University of Wisconsin is located. You had a ton of votes for Hillary Clinton 4 years ago, so Joe Biden hasn't yet hit that mark. She had 217,000 and 75%, so he's 144. So I would imagine in a liberal county like Dane County, Wisconsin, that there's more votes out there for Democrats to be had. One other thing I think is curious, the Trump team told me a bit earlier tonight that they had about half a dozen counties in Wisconsin that ran out of ballots, and they had to go out and get more. Some of them are right here in the center part of the state, Juneau County. There's not a ton of votes to be had anyway. Nonetheless, though, Wood County, just north of it, they ran out of ballots apparently, had to gather more. Perhaps they file provisional ballots until they can fill the void for that. The reason I bring that up, you got a 6,000 vote margin at the moment in Wood County alone in Wisconsin. Why does that matter? Just pop out here a moment to 2016. I mean, this is razor tight, right?
I'm really starting to wonder if this guy even knows what he's talking about at this point.
All these votes
I don't care about
in
2016.
2020 from the rural areas that Donald
Every
Trump
vote matters.
He's been campaigning. He's been working hard for Wisconsin. The campaign thinks
Every vote matters.
Talked with one of the high-ranking members of the campaign.
It's the only time we can express our opinion, and it has any value.
One gentleman thought Pennsylvania was more likely to flip toward Trump. The other thought Wisconsin.
Whoa, really?
One is right.
And I know people that swear they've been abducted by aliens.
From the results tonight.
What do you?
Arizona, Martha, let's go check it out, okay? You know, this is Maricopa.
So I don't watch the news.
Phoenix. You've got about
but I'm going to do this. We're going to get
By the
through
way,
it together.
I've seen it. I think it's the first time you guys have seen it too, right? Joe Biden with a slight lead here now at 54 to 44. This is Maricopa. This is. Look, you win your elections here in Pima County with Tucson and up here in Maricopa. At the moment, 54-44, that's a 10-point edge. Let's see what they did 4 years ago. Donald Trump, pretty impressive, 51-48, so there's more votes to be had there as well. Come back to 2020, and we'll see how much more we get in here in Arizona in a moment. 11 electoral votes. We knew they closed at 9. They would not report until 10 o'clock. It's about 10:17 East Coast time, and they're rolling in, guys.
So in Arizona, like those other states, the early vote we've seen from our voter
Didn't you already
survey
call Arizona?
6 out of 10 towards Biden in pretty much every state. But then the vote seems to fill in, as we've seen in these other states.
Yeah, it's the same trend, right, Brett? I mean, the skew is blue, and then it changes throughout the course of the night. I mean, that's been the pattern back here in Ohio. That's been the pattern down here in North Carolina.
Boy, he really likes that little device. Florida, and also he loves that device. Oh, look at me. I can press buttons. Look at me.
Yeah, I mean, this whole question about
2020 just like that, isn't it?
Yeah, about whether there's a path through the Sun Belt or through the Rust Belt. You know, we're starting to see that Sun Belt area. That's why I wanted to take a look at Arizona, and I saw that there's a pretty decent gap right now between Martha McSally and Mark Kelly, in favor of Mark Kelly, at least at this point. I think we have about 71% of the vote in the state in. So one to watch as we get a little bit closer to that one.
All right, Bill, thank you.
Talk you back later.
So the polls are closed in the biggest toss-up states in the race for the White House. We're going to bring you all the data from our decision.
That's what I'm waiting on. That's why I'm doing this. Majority of polls will be closing here soon. Get a good idea. It's all going to be contested. It's going to be a while, but by the way, I apologize, Fox News, whatever. I'm just watching something.
Wow. Do you think he overdid it, maybe?
All right. Play another ad. Abraham Lincoln. False call 7 years ago. Our full fathers.
What makes me proud to be an American is that it was founded on an idea that freedom matters.
Democracy 2020, it's in your hands. Is a gift. At Aspen Dental, it's easy to gift yourself the smile you deserve. New patients, get started with a comprehensive exam and full set of x-rays with no obligation. And if you don't have insurance, it's free. Plus, get 20% off your treatment plan. Enjoy flexible payment options and savings when it matters most. We're here to make your smile shine bright so you can start the new year feeling all right. Call 1-800-ASPEN-DENTAL 7 days a week or book today at aspendental.com.
Hey, Tony, what you doing?
I'm reviewing some of Tubi's best plays. They got such a deep bench of free movies and television shows. There's always a perfect play.
Tubi. Download now on all your favorite devices. Here's a hint about how to make working from home less stressful and more comfortable. Make the
Utah
switch to
going
X2.
Trump.
Infinite side float recline and dynamic variable lumbar support.
Vermont
make the
Biden with
X-Chair a customer
85.
favorite at home
Figures.
and work. The X-Chair lets you customize for the same measure of amazing comfort. no matter
Virginia
what your
Trump
size.
with
Every model is
55,
in
but they're
stock,
calling
ready
it for
to ship the
Biden.
next day. And you can get $100
Or
off any
52.
model on
No,
our
I might have.
website.
Never
Your new
mind.
normal, incredibly comfortable. Call or click to order today.
When we started our business, we
DC
were paying like an arm
Biden.
and a leg for the postage. I remember setting up
Figures.
ShipStation. I think it was
55.
just like
Wow,
one or two
only
clicks.
half.
Everything was up and running. I was printing out labels and saving money.
ShipStation saves us so much time. It makes it really easy and seamless. Pick an order,
Wisconsin,
print
leaning
everything you
Trump,
need, slap
almost
the label
half.
off the box, and it's ready to go.
Our cost for shipping like
Wyoming
cut in
heavy,
half,
but that's only
just like that.
3%. Doesn't mean
ShipStation, the number
anything.
one choice of online sellers. Go to shipstation.com/try and get 2 months
Alabama
free.
halfway there. Trump killing it.
Welcome back. On your screen,
Arizona 71 with Trump trailing. Okay, Biden, get it.
91% of the precincts in. Donald
62
Trump,
and
51.3% to 47.8. In Georgia, there you go, 56% of the precincts in, and you see Donald Trump. Again, some of that other vote, as we talked about. And then North Carolina, a very close race there in North Carolina, but 91% of the precincts in. Again, all of those too early to call at this hour.
And let's take a look at the overall electoral map as it stands right now. In the race to 270, Joe Biden at 129, President Trump at 109, and you see the percentage there, 48.2 to 50.2 as we stand, 0.3 as we stand this evening. Things are changing by the second at 10:22. So let's get some thoughts tonight from Laura Ingraham, host of the Ingraham Angle, who joins us.
Oh God.
Thoughts on how things are.
Why do you have to fall into it, Fox?
We've got some information and quite a bit more to come in.
Yeah,
You already know. Why do you like really?
Are the last to be counted, except
Like
the mail-in
calling
ballots that are gonna
somebody
be
else.
rolling in, postmarked
What's
today.
up, Kitty?
So we have to keep that
Come
in
here.
mind. But I think when we look at Florida and focusing on the GOP for a moment, Martha and Brett, the coalition that the Republicans have been able to put together.
You know,
in
you were
that
right in the
state
middle of everything, right?
is really something that they should try to replicate as much
Okay,
as
thank
possible
you.
going forward up and down the East Coast with a strong contingent of seniors, Latinos, young professionals, African Americans. The Republicans have outperformed, it looks like tonight, across
Your
all of
camera
those
with
categories
your hair.
with higher turnouts than they had in 2016. So there was a lot of talk about how Biden was going to bring all these new voters to the fore, and indeed we'll probably find that he did. But the other story, which I think you're seeing playing out state after state tonight, is that
You were gonna hurt me, aren't
people into
you?
the party, and then
Yeah.
expanded the
Okay.
base from those blue-collar workers on out. So we'll see what happens as the night goes forward. But to me,
She was gonna mess me
the
up.
Republican Party.
You know, Laura, this is just an interesting thing, and you talk about this all the time, about the president's policies toward China, being tough on China. Right now, according to the Wall Street Journal, the Chinese yuan has started to tank.
I just
What's
saw
up?
that. And what
it
does that?
is-
you
Hey,
know,
Bug.
What does
that's
that tell you?
It's very significant because it means, at least so far in the evening, they're looking at the betting odds, and I know you've probably talked about that already
Well,
tonight.
Britt has.
Yeah, 64% on the overseas betting now lean toward Trump. And the Chinese are watching all of this. And
Overseas
right now,
betting.
they
Oh my
are
God.
indicating to us that they believe the tariffs that Donald Trump put on a whole
Yeah, they're gonna
slew of
destroy.
goods are
Good.
here to stay. for the foreseeable future.
Yeah.
And that obviously hurts their currency.
Duh.
At least in
That's
the
the
short
point.
term. So that's a significant metric.
Guess
We
what?
should
Our
all
dollar's
be
worth more
the
now.
data that's coming in.
Congratulations, you figured
but
it
I
out.
have to say, when we look at the sheer numbers of people who've turned out to vote, we had a very engaged electorate this election season, and there are a lot of people who've said that Joe Biden made a smart call and running on the pandemic and hanging back
fear
and letting
mongering.
Trump, go out there and dominate the stage because people were tired of Trump. I think that was a really misguided way of looking at things. I think, as you saw after he recovered from COVID, he has been nonstop. And I think a lot of folks, as time went on, began to really respect that he was fighting, in their mind, for every vote that he could get in those swing states. And it was a breakneck pace. Obviously, Joe Biden could not keep up with that or didn't want to keep up with it. And those crowds, which, again, a lot of people didn't want to talk about, they were a metric of energy and excitement that I just did not see replicated on the other side, at least the emotion of it, for whatever that's worth tonight. And I think in the end, the love for the country, the love for the average worker, they're going to say trumped the dislike that the left has for Donald Trump, his tone and tweets and some of his past comments.
Laura, a lot of people have wanted the president, people who support him have wanted him to focus more on the economy and on recovering from coronavirus. He really swung around to that in a stronger way in the final days as he campaigned through the course of these rallies. The NASDAQ futures are up over 3% this evening, and it just reminds me of the discussion that was had in 2016. And I want to keep reiterating, we got a long way to go here in this evening tonight. But it was all doom and gloom that he was going to sort of make all the markets crash, and I think would never ever recover. The stock market would never ever recover.
Yeah, well, it was going to be. Yeah, Martha, you hit the nail on the head. In the spring, it was the Great Depression was coming. It was going to be not just a long, dark winter. It was going to be a long, dark decade. We heard some people saying, was it going to be a decade before we'd recover? How can any incumbent president overcome a depression, a pandemic, and in concern about his tone? That was never possible. And I've got to say, for whatever people think about Donald Trump, the personality, he never gave up on his winning
I
formula
don't care.
policies,
Shut
which is
up.
America first,
Blah, blah,
enforce
blah.
the
Now
border,
you're getting
tighten the labor
personal.
market, see wages
Now
go
you're
up,
giving me
which
your
you saw
opinion.
6,000 for the average family income,
Yeah, you're
median
using
family
facts,
income
but you're
through,
hiding
the
it.
last
Stop.
year. These were significant advances for African Americans, Latinos. Some of that is paying off tonight. I think people are worried that we're going
That I
to go
can
into a
agree
shutdown
with.
next year as they see a lockdown happening across Europe. And I think that lockdown versus liberty dichotomy, I think in the end that ended up helping with women who want their kids back in school. And I think it began to motivate even some younger
I was a little
voters
sexist.
who, maybe were led to believe on social media that Donald Trump was a terrible, awful, rotten person.
Yeah.
Again, we'll see as the microanalysis goes forward.
We will.
But I think
Tell
a
me
lot of
parents
people
just
in
don't want
Trump
kids to
country
have their
feeling pretty
education.
happy right
Yeah,
now.
Laura, thank you. I just want to point out
Bug, what are you doing?
3.6% up on the NASDAQ futures
Bug.
at this point, which is a huge leap. We'll
Lily.
see what happens overnight. Laura, thank you.
Laura, thank you.
very
Let's
much.
head back now across the Hudson River. Harris Faulkner live with some voters tonight in beautiful Liberty State Park. Hi again, Harris.
Hello, Brett and Martha. It is time again to hear the voters'
Can we
voices.
get back to
And
the
we're going to
numbers,
get some of the
please?
grittier issues around this election. Some of the things that you were just talking about, Latino, black vote, that sort of thing. Our panel voters
All right,
back
we're
with
just
us
gonna
now,
shut this up.
watching the night unfold along with much of America. Two Joe Biden supporters.
Congratulations. You just got shut up. Ugh. This is nonsense. We're gonna play. Let's play some. I don't have 5 on this. But I do on this. I'm pretty sure. Alright.
So New
Blah,
York,
blah, blah,
Miami,
blah, blah.
Los Angeles, that kind of thing. But we actually have a lot of growth in like North Carolina, Alabama, Michigan, you know, those centers that we really think about, you know, traditional centers of Latinos.
I
So I
don't.
think, you know, there's a lot more to come tonight.
Good, whatever.
Are you surprised that your candidate has not done as well, though, even as the previous Democrat against Donald Trump, same candidate?
What?
Well, again, you know, we are just trying to make sure
He didn't run against.
an opportunity to vote, and everybody
That was.
has an opportunity to have their ballot counted, whether that's tonight or tomorrow.
Yeah, and they do. It's
Janet,
pretty
I want to come to you
simple.
because we're focused so much on Georgia tonight. Fulton County, a very large black vote there. You obviously are a Trump supporter.
Why
Always
does
been a Republican, predominantly a Democrat. What do you think?
Well, you gotta hand it to him. At least they had the black anchor ask him the racist question. Why does it matter? What does it matter?
The Democrats they're probably missing on the things that are most important. When it comes to law and order, the support of our police, some of the policies, I think that they're missing on the finer points of things. That they're not as detailed. Democrats have a tendency to see things in a monolithic way and not realizing that there are many parts of a whole. So I think that is their problem.
It is.
They're missing the mark on the finer points.
I do want to say that Joe Biden right now, from the Fox News voter analysis, Amanda, does show that black voters are still very strong for Joe Biden. They haven't fully counted Fulton County yet, so we'll see what happens there. But some of these same issues, as a minister, I know that you've been watching just different demographics in your congregation. The coronavirus was something that Joe Biden thought he could really hit home with.
God, they're desperate.
Biden voter, how do you think he did with that? Did that turn out to be the thing that he could win it with as much as people thought?
I think it's one of the things.
I can't deal with that. I'm sorry. It's just gotten ridiculous. I was watching it. It was okay. They were giving numbers. Now they're, we're just gonna. Anyway, it was all good, and then I don't know what happened. They're interviewing people that have nothing to do with anything and not talking about the numbers, so whatever. At this point, I don't care. We're just gonna